Hello there, welcome to Connect the World. I'm Hannah Vaughan-Jones, live in London for you, filling in for Becky Anderson today. At any moment in the next 11 days, the American president could walk away from the Iran nuclear deal. Timed right ahead of that, speaking in English, Israel's Prime Minister delivering a dramatic theatrical presentation full of props, charts, schematics, photographs, all used to accuse Iran of, quote, brazenly lying about building nuclear weapons. Take a listen.
After signing the nuclear deal in 2015, Iran intensified its efforts to hide its secret nuclear files.
Well, right after that, the UN agency in charge of inspecting Iran and its weapons insisting the country is not working on nuclear weapons and hasn't been for at least 9 years. So, just hours ago, defending those claims, Mr. Netanyahu coming on CNN speaking to our Chris Cuomo, who set about challenging the Israeli Prime Minister.
So first, let's talk about how this came about, and then we'll talk about why you think it matters. This is described as an unusually theatrical display for you, and you gave this speech in English. Why give this speech in English and do it in such a big way?
Well, because I wanted the world to hear it.
Welcome back. Now, before the break, CNN's in-depth interview with Israel's Prime Minister, pressing him about claims of Israel uncovering a secret trove of Iranian nuclear weapons documents. Well, to break all of that down for us, CNN's Oren Lieberman is in Jerusalem, where the Israeli Prime Minister was speaking earlier. Also, Nick Robertson here with me in the studio. Nick, of course, has been following nuclear negotiations with Iran for some 10 years now. Let's get out to Oren first, though, where this interview with CNN's Chris Cuomo first went down. Oren, some of the skeptics in the international community, let's say, are questioning the timing of Benjamin Netanyahu's presentation about this new trove of documents. I'm wondering, though, what the domestic audience is making of Benjamin Netanyahu's theatrics and how his words have stood up to domestic scrutiny.
Well, there is also some skepticism here because of the fashion in which it was done. If you're going to make a point that you want world leaders to take seriously, generally it's not done with a carefully choreographed, theatric, dramatic presentation.
Nick, in this presentation by Bibi Netanyahu, he's effectively accused the other signatories of this Iran nuclear deal, including the then president of the United States, Barack Obama, of being naive when it comes to its contents. How is that going to be received by those other signatories when it comes to actually potentially having to renegotiate a new deal?
Well, the language didn't seem to work for the British, who said we've never been naive about, this was from the British government spokesman, we've never been naive about Iran's nuclear intentions, about weapons that they might want to build from them. The French have also sort of echoed this. Both British and French are saying, look, we knew this, we knew about this archive, we knew what was in there, that it's not a revelation to us, and this is the foundation of the reason that we think that the JCPOA is the best way to go forward.
This must have been something of a gift to him in some way, that his longtime ally in Israel has come forward and said, yep, we've got all this evidence, it was overseen and it was dismissed by others, but you were right all along.
Well, and Prime Minister Netanyahu clearly references that, saying that the clock is ticking down on when President Trump has to make the decision.
You mentioned language, and then we had to bring up this document, a White House statement, which has been changed at the last minute. Chris Cuomo also talked about it in his interview with Benjamin Netanyahu. It's a statement about Israel's nuclear capabilities, and it's effectively saying that, on the one hand, they said Israel has a nuclear weapons program, and then they quickly changed it and to had, past tense. Can we read anything into that, or is this just an administrative error?
You know, I think a lot of people read whatever they want into it. It's quite easy to read into that this is what the White House is thinking all along. This is the impression that they want to create.
Now, on the Korean Peninsula, more small steps after last week's historic summit, of course, between the North and the South. Seoul is dismantling a set of loudspeakers along its border, which have been blasting propaganda and music into North Korea for years now. Both leaders agreed to stop their audio battle as part of the declaration signed on Friday. Meanwhile, South Korean President Moon Jae-in is asking the UN, United Nations, to endorse that landmark declaration. Well, for more on this, Alexandra Field joins us live from the South Korean capital, Seoul. Alexandra, let's talk about this UN approval to start with. If indeed it does need to get approval through the Security Council, what's the time frame for that happening? I guess I'm asking, is it going to happen before we see Donald Trump and Kim Jong-un potentially meeting? And if it does get to the Security Council, could anyone actually dissent from it, disagree with it?
It's not a commitment that has been made yet. Look, this conversation was had. The Blue House put out their report saying that they were moving forward with this request, that this conversation had been had with the Secretary General.
The White House now says its statement that Iran has a secret nuclear weapons program was a typo. It was changed online to read Iran had such a program, had in the past tense. So are we getting, though, an idea of where Mr. Trump might be leaning on this deal? Our White House reporter Stephen Collinson joins us now from Washington. So, Stephen, do you think this was an administrative typo or some kind of insight into where this administration is going on policy?
I think it could be both. Inadvertently, the National Security Council says that this was just a clerical error in this statement.
An American celebrity becomes British royalty. Max Foster, CNN, Windsor, England.
Max Foster there, getting ready for the big day, as we all are. I'm Hannah Vaughan-Jones. Thanks so much for watching. That was Connect the World. See you soon.